G'day guys, and welcome to Parkway Studios here in Townsville. My name's Mick and today we're talking microphones. We're going to talk about an original vintage KM84, and we're going to talk about the original KM85, and then we're going to have a look at the capsules, the interchangeable capsules on these guys, the KK84s and the KK85s. And we're also going to tell you what applications these guys are really good at, and they're the best. So first we're going to talk about the Neumann KM84. These guys were produced between, I think it was the years of 1966 and 1990 or something very similar to that. The KM84 is a small capsule cardioid mic, and it was actually the first microphone to ever have 48 volt. They're only a little guy. You know, a lot of people will call these fellas pencil condensers. You might hear them go for that name as well. It does have a 10 dB cut on this thing. I think it can actually go up to about 130 dB before it distorts. So this thing can handle, you know, a fair bit of noise coming through it. There is a couple of cons to this guy. It's very susceptible to sort of low noise. So you got to make sure you have this guy mounted in a good shock mount, and you got to put a pop filter on it, of course, because it is pretty sensitive to that sort of stuff. The KM85, the other guy we're about to talk about, actually has a roll off, and it takes out a little bit of that low rumble. These guys are exceptional on acoustic instruments, and they're a household name because of the ability to be true to the instrument. So obviously acoustic guitars, pianos are, you know, beautiful for grand pianos. A lot of orchestral pieces will have these guys sitting on them. They're also really good, and they're world class. Actually, a lot of guys will argue the fact that these are the best drum overheads of all. So if you have these guys hanging around, put them to use because they're actually a phenomenal microphone. They have an interchangeable capsule, you know, nothing too fancy really. This is a KK84 capsule, which is the KM84 capsule. And the 85s, if you have a KM85, which is this guy right here, and as you can tell, they're identical. You know, there's nothing at all done. In the capsule is where the roll-off is. So essentially I can take the KK85 capsule off this and put the 84 in. Now I have a KM84. So KM85s and 84s are identical. The work is done here in the capsule. The rest of it stays the same. The cylinder, the rest of the internals are identical. So for people that want to buy a KM84, an original one, you're going to have to do a little bit of searching because there's, you know, a lot of guys don't let these go unless they're folding up their studios or these things break and they're irreparable. They're relatively hard to find, so you got to be lucky. You got to be on the lookout, and if you're right time to buy, jump on these things. They're not cheap. The KM84s, the original KM84s, aren't going to be cheap because guys that have them have had them a long time, and they know the value of these things, and they know what they can do to records, and they know what they can actually do to their songs just by having them in their arsenal. Same goes with the 85s. However, it seems to be that you do see the KM85s sitting around. You're going to find the KM85s cheaper. So basically the KM85 was designed to reduce the proximity effect. It has the low roll-off at about 12 dB at 50 hertz. Probably wouldn't want to get up too close to these things. The KM85s were designed for the outside speaking, so the low rumble that would come with the wind and stuff like that. The reason they made these and they put the roll-off into the capsule was just to eliminate that issue. Instead of designing a whole new microphone, they just did it in the capsule and basically shipped them out to the people that wanted them. Check out the KM85s, they're phenomenal if you can pick them up. So the newer version of the KM84 is a KM184. You can buy those relatively cheap. I mean, compared to these vintage guys, the 184s, look, they've got a bit of a bump around the high end. Some guys will say they don't like it, some guys will say they do. It's a personal choice. Go and have a listen to it. Work it out for yourself. The KM184s, they're under $1,000. And look, at the end of the day, for $1,000, a KM184 is pretty much going to get you rolling. I think the bump's around 10K or somewhere like that. I'll put in the link in the description some places that you can buy a KM184. I know it's probably not the thing on this guy, but it's the next best thing right now because these guys haven't been made for 25 years. So if you're interested in the KM series, I do a lot of shopping at a place in Sydney called Turramurra Music. I'll put the link to the description directly to their KM page, and you know, call them up. They always do great deals at Turra. So if you're not happy with the price, at least ring up and say, hey, can you do any better? You just never know, right? You got to ask. Look, Factory Sound are going to sell these things down in Melbourne, or Brisbane Sound Group, BSG. I'm presuming they're going to have the handle of these things as well. So do your shopping around, but I will put some links in the description of all the different shops I can find. A bit of surfing around, I'll find out the cheapest ones for you. And as of today, 2016, and the links will be in below. KM84s, amazing microphones. KM85s, amazing microphones. If you ever see them sitting around, or you know someone that's got these things, put them to good use, or better still, contact me and I'll put it to good use. There'll be some links in the description below, so check those out before you go. Please like and share and subscribe to the channel, because we're going to do videos like this all the time. And if there's anything you guys want to know about, particularly you want to talk about, please get in contact with me and let me know. Thanks for hanging around, and we'll see you at the next video.